I won't stop hustling.
Grinders and grindettes, what's happening? Greetings and salutations. Listen, if you're new to the channel, I go by the name of The Black Abstract. And if you're a current subscriber, like my boy Mike Key, salute. So let's get right into it. Actually, we're not going to get right into it. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. Future Trillionaire Clothing. IamTrill.com is the website. It should be right up here, I believe. Yeah, right there. Go over there. Get something off the website. Support the channel. Right now, I don't know if you can see it. I got the grinders and grindettes hoodies because that's what I call everybody that's on their grind. If you're a male, you're a grinder. If you're a female, you're a grindette. And if you're non-binary, you could be whatever one you want to be. So, BMF episode 7, titled "All in the Family," season 1. We got one more show to go. Listen, and I know what you're thinking. He didn't see the episode. He couldn't have seen it. Guess what? Stars slipped up. Yeah, they slipped up big time. I just happened to be on the book. Somebody sent me somebody told me that it was on the Stars app. Wasn't on if you got Prime Video, that's what I normally watch it on. But at the Stars app, it was on there. It's taken down now because when I do the reviews, I like to be watching it while I'm doing them. So they must have realized it, took it down. This episode was directed by 50 Cent. And it featured an appearance by none other than Marshall Mathers. It was a quick cameo. It was probably like this quick. It was nonverbal. It was just real small. And White Boy Rick got locked up around that time anyway. So I think that's probably the only time we're going to see him. Now, there's also a death in this episode. So I'm giving you a fair warning. If you haven't seen the episode yet, and you're going to wait till when it actually comes out, which is next week, pause this, save it to watch later, or I'm giving you fair warning. There are spoilers ahead. So let's get right into it. I know you're thinking, who the death? We're not going to talk about that yet. All right, so the title of this episode says, "Blood spills into the streets when Meech devises a plan for revenge, forcing Lamar to seek shelter with someone close." Who could that be? All right, so the episode starts off right where the last one left off. If you remember, the sister's boyfriend had got killed in the street. Don't ask me the sister's name. Y'all know I'm bad with names if y'all been watching this channel. Just her name is Sister. It's the only sister on the show. Her boyfriend got stabbed. Her boyfriend, Demetrius, I believe his name was, got stabbed. No, I don't think his name was Demetrius. It was Darius. Boyfriend got stabbed in the street, protecting her from Lamar's crazy ass. He wound up poking him up. We see 2 pairs of legs running up the stairs of the hospital. Obviously, it's Meech and Terry. They looking for their sister. They both going opposite ends. Meech is looking in these rooms, and he's seeing all these patients in there. You got a kid with his arm broken. You got a lady laid up in there. Look like she got chicken pox. You got a bunch of different stuff going on. So he's like, oh, man, hope nothing happened to my sister. So I don't know what news they got. I think they just heard their sister was involved in something. And I think them boys just came right up there. Terry actually winds up finding her. She's on the opposite end. He calls Meech over, and she's just sitting in the room. So I'm thinking maybe the boy survived, and because she's sitting in the room, and she they put their arms around her and try to embrace her and whatnot, and she just breaks down crying. And Terry tries to comfort her, and Meech tries to comfort her, and Meech don't really know what the fuck the right say to shit. He never say the right thing. She walks out and storms off, blaming them obviously, because hey, let's be honest, they were the ones to blame. They go in a hallway and try to console her. They're met with the detectives, Bryant and Spanish cat. And they said they talked to the parents. She got to come down to the station to give a statement. And then Meech tried to tell him, "Oh, she ain't going nowhere. She ain't got to go nowhere." And you're like, well, we spoke to the parents. They said it was fine. And they're down there waiting for you. So yeah. And he hugs her and he says, I hear him whisper in the air, "Don't say nothing." And she just like, the hell, this nigga. And I'm thinking that too. Like, man, Meech think about itself. But I understand where you're coming from at the same time, because it's just like, you got to protect the family business. But he also says that out loud. And Terry was like, man, he's like, yo, she just watched her boyfriend die right now, and that's all you could think of? Man, what's wrong with you and shit? Like, Terry always coming at his ass. And listen, if you want to know why I'm not in my studio, my regular studio, I had ankle surgery yesterday. I had a fortunate incident. Somebody tried to make me a victim of a robbery. I wind up grabbing a pistol and it went off and it hit me in the ankle, so I had to get some surgery. Luckily, it just like grazed the bone, but it did fracture it, so I had to get some surgery. But I'm good, man. Thanks for everybody that hit me up, gave me some well wishes. I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't think I'm Superman or nothing. I just trying to think fast, man. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but that's neither here nor there. So show comes on, starts up. We see that she actually went to the police station and the parents are there. So now she's having an interaction with them. The father's pussy ass obviously wants her to do the right thing because she could say it's Lamar. They could go pick Lamar right up, get his dumbass crazy ass off the street. But at the same time, that will be implementing her brothers because then it will trickle down to, well, why is Lamar tiring and you blase blase. The mom's like, hold on, we got to think about this now because if she says something, then it could look like, you know what I'm saying? And Pop's like, nah. So they arguing. Like, luckily, the police are standing outside of the room and the intercom doesn't work to where they can hear on the opposite side. So that's what's saving them. And I'm thinking while they talking, I'm like, yo, don't these dumb motherfuckers know they can hear them? But luckily, the comm wasn't working. That seems very convenient, right? Great storytelling. But so they refuse to let Brian in there because obviously they had suspicion that he's working with Meech, which we saw in the other episode. His partner was watching him. So they go in there and talk to her, and we don't know what she's going to say because it could go one way. But she stood strong. She didn't say anything. She said she didn't know why. They even said, listen, we heard he was trying to kidnap you. So why you not saying nothing? She was like, I don't know anything. And I'm like, ooh, this is crazy. I'm like, it's getting thick in here. Yeah, man, it's an unfortunate situation, that kid, good kid, lost his life for no apparent reason, man. That sucks. We see Lamar is still held up in light-skinned sidekick's house. Rest in peace to Slick too, man. One of my favorite characters. He's still hauled off in his damn house with about 50 guns. He literally had 100 guns, 100 clips, like he was from New York. But anyway, he's putting these guns in a bag. He's heading outside, and prior to that, we saw Meech and Tiny speaking. We didn't know what they were speaking about. They were speaking to some. So this must have been what they was talking about. That Tiny and him was gonna ride on Lamar. So soon as Lamar comes out the house, Tiny and his goons pull up in this old church van looking joint. It wasn't even a church van. It was the old 80s vans back in the day. And niggas used to ride and smoking. So he pull up in that, guns blazing. You see Lamar looking. He's looking on the Porsche. They started letting off on him. They had them big dude with him. They ran up in the house searching for him. And I don't know how Lamar got away. They didn't even say that. See, one thing about the Wire, when they had the Omar scene, when he got ambushed, he jumped off the balcony, broke his leg. We at least knew what had happened to him. We don't know how Lamar escaped. They had everything closed off at all exits, but he did. They actually wound up hitting him and wounding him. But he got away. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, Terry, like, man, they got away. Like, he upset about it. Obviously, Tiny. I mean, I don't know if I said Terry. We see some down low like meeting spot. We see Meech come in, and I was honestly, that's when Eminem was shown. Prior to the shooting, Meech was walking with Terry and they were talking. And Meech slaps up Eminem, and he looks so fucking hilarious. Yo, if you ever see that one movie, believe it's called White Boy Rick. The actor that played him did an amazing job in that movie. It's got Matthew McConaughey in it. It's a great movie. It's about some other Detroit hustlers that kind of get swept by the wayside, but they was doing their thing back then. I forget the name of them. But you see Eminem, and Tiny's like, yo, who that? He like, yo, that's White Boy Rick. He got like a mink coat and shit on. So if you don't know the story of White Boy Rick, he was pretty much a young white kid that wanted to get into the drug game. I think he got caught up, and he agreed to be an informant for the FBI, if I'm not mistaken. Let me move over a little bit because I want to put the BMF picture right here. I don't want it blocking too much of me. But anyway, yeah. So after the shooting, we see that We see Tiny and Meech meet up again, and they like, yo, Meech's like, yo, how you let him get away, man? How the fuck, like, he like, man, we don't know, man. He's like, but you think this good for me? He saw my eyes, so I gotta be looking out for him more than ever and shit. You remember he put licensed sidekick in Tiny's little apartment, so he know where Tiny stay at. So I'm thinking, obviously, the next place Lamar is gonna go to is I'm thinking he's gonna go to Kato's house. Because she don't be there. She's hauled up there. But then you think about it, that might not be the smartest idea for him because that's kind of like their territory and shit. But so that's what I thought he was going. So Meech was like, yo, I think I know where he might be. And come to find out, he went over to Monique's house. We just see him breaking in somebody's bathroom, climbing up in there, and we see that he did get shot in the arm, and he's doing like every movie does, every tough guy. They got the alcohol, like, pulling the bullet out. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he's hauled off in Monique's crib, and shit is going crazy. We see the police trying to snatch up anything and everybody they can after this shit. Kato's walking out the store. She see them hemming up the boys. She plays it smart. She takes off all her jewelry or tucks it in. Put her hair over her hoops, act like she's on the payphone. Police just skate right by her, don't even pay her no attention. So she kind of know that she could kind of phase in and out because she's a female, so she sees that she can use that to her advantage. So we see Monique get home with Zoe, and they talking or whatever, and Monique's like, yeah, let me take these boots off. She goes to walk in the bathroom, and Lamar, crazy ass, he put his arms around her like, don't say nothing, I got shot. And she had no concern at all about that man getting shot. I said, oh, she do not care about this nigga. she had no kind of like, oh my God, are you okay? She was just like, I knew your ass wasn't going to change. You better get the hell out of here or I'm going to call the police. And he's just like, yo, just let me clean myself up and I'm going to leave, or let me just stay for the night. And she like, nah, hell no, nigga, I told you what it was. That nigga, like, he switched like this. It was like a light switch. Boop, boop, hit her with a 2-piece, bashed her head against the joint, was choking her out and shit, about to down her ass. And then Zoe walked in. He kind of backed up off of her and hightailed the fuck up on out of there. I'm like, this dude, man. This dude just don't learn, man. We see they threw a funeral for old boy that got killed, and this is the fastest black funeral I ever seen. Black people, when they pass, you don't normally see a funeral for a month or two, or maybe 6 months down the line. This happened fast. Meech and Terry agreed to pay for the funeral, which is, I don't know, kind of makes them look a little guilty, but who is what it is. We see Terry shows up to the church, but prior to that, he had a conversation with Meech where they were saying, pretty much discussing how he got away and whatnot. And he was just telling them like, yo, shit's all bad. We actually see that they decide that they have to move the prophet. Or they have to try to get a pushback or another date to re-up with the plug, because just how shit is going, they haven't really been able to have their people on the corner because of Lamar. And so he's trying to get Terry to kind of get Big L to push the date back. And Terry like, man, I don't know if I could do that. He was like, yo, just get it done. And they in the middle of a conversation about what they gonna do, and they agree like they gotta work shifts, like they gonna have to be out there with them. And I'm thinking in my head like, that's the dumbest shit y'all could think of, man. Listen, this episode was directed by 50 Cent, and listen, I love 50 Cent, but his directing he not a big dog when it comes to the directing yet, because it was all over the place. The episode was, you know what I'm saying? It was decent, but it was just a lot of shit that didn't make sense. And man, you know what? That's not even part of the directing. That's just the writing. And I don't know why they fumbling the ball when we almost at the finish line, but it just seemed like it was a lot of fumbling going on with this episode. But in the process of them talking, they decided to cover the shifts. Terry's like, yo, all right, I gotta go. Meek's like, yo, where you gotta go? We find out Terry's going to the funeral. They go to the funeral, and Snoop Dogg gives the worst sermon I've ever seen at a funeral or wake ever, dude. He was laughing. His wig looked crooked. and he was talking about some Nas. God is good. Like, dude, we had a funeral. What are you saying that for? And he was pretty much talking about how drug dealers are ruining the community, and you just see people looking back at Terry, and I'm like, how did these many people know about what's going on with them? But hey, you know what they say, man, the streets talk, man. Like Jay-Z said, the streets is watching, blocks keep plotting, waiting for you to break, make your first mistake. Yeah, so they all looking at them, and then they go out to church, and this is one of those, you know how I feel about when actors get in a bag and they start acting. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan of that. Obviously, I like the other shit that comes along with it, but I like that acting. And we see a confrontation between Meech and Terry's mom and the mother of the deceased boy Darius, where the mom kind of extends her hand and try to give her condolences, and the lady turns around like, are you serious? She like, yo, I heard about what happened, and police tried to talk to you. You didn't want to talk to them. Talking to the daughter now. You didn't want to talk to them, and you need to say what happened. And just don't think because you paid for my son's funeral, looking at Terry, you thinking everything is okay. Oh, you didn't know they paid for the funeral, did you? Yes, they paid $7,000 for my son's funeral. And she's like, yo, that should have been your son in the casket, not mine. I'm like, oh, she hit her with the lug. It's like she stole that scene. The mom I know is a great actress, but it was nothing she really could say at that time. There was nothing. The dad trying to interject, like, yo, hold on now. And it was like, nah. At the house, we see the dad is packing, and the mom like, "Yo, I'm not leaving. Like, I'm not leaving my house. Like, you're not running me out of here." Pop's like, "Man, I'm gone. Me and the daughter, we out." So he just left the mom ass. I'm like, this nigga ain't shit. He really ain't. We see the mom try to go talk to the lawyer again to hire her back. What she winds up doing successfully. She told her that, obviously her husband was speaking out of turn, and that she wanted to take on the case again. And the lawyer says that she might have a witness, a nurse that was in there that actually saw the doctor operating and might have saw him making a mistake, and that but the nurse quit. But she's like, yo, we could track her down. She's like, oh, I'm already ahead of it. And she kind of smooths her over to kind of just take the money because they trying to just figure out something for Terry and them to do. We also see the mom grab Terry's baby mom right at the house and kind of like lay into her a little bit. And I'm like, yo, why are you doing this so late in the game though? Like, what's done is done. But she tries to scare the daughter into telling Meech to kind of like get out the game. She like, yo, I know why you did it for the money and whatnot. And I'm like, yo, she doing it because she riding for a man. She doing what she's supposed to do. And we've seen her tell Terry this, like, you got to stop this shit after he got shot. So, but she broke down and telling her, like, yo, it's not me. Like, I've been telling him. And I think the mom understood, like, this is bigger than her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think eventually the parents going to wind up getting down or laying down. Like, they gonna wind up being down with the shit. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe the mom did some time or the dad. I think they both did some time for this shit. Like, eventually they was just like, all right, fuck it. So that was crazy to see that. I'm just like, yo, why is she saying this all late now? Like, when shit hitting the fan, like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I guess better late than never, but they speaking on deaf ears, man. Hold on, let me light my little candle, man. I need some ambiance in here. Hold on, y'all. I got a little Kim Kardashian candle that the wife got. I'll light this joint real quick. Yeah, to make it get some smell good up in here. So, back to the street side of shit. Meech and B Mickey, after Monique's situation happened, Meech goes over there when he said he knew what it was. And he wound up seeing Monique. She let him in. He was just like, yo, I know that's Zoe's father, but she's like, man, after this, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck what happened to him. And she was like, yo, when he came out, he said he'd be at his cousin's house over on such and such street. And she gives him like an address. And Meech's like, yo, you good? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, I'll let your ass in, but don't think I forgot that you kidnapped Zoe. I'm like, that nigga ain't kidnap her, man. He brought her ice cream and French fries. But yeah, he fucked her face up too, though. Aside from that, him and B Mickey, and I love B Mickey. He always down to ride because he was sitting at the table like, man, we got to do something, man. Like, Meek's like, yo, I got people on it. B Mickey like, yo, it gotta come from us. Like, we gotta do this personally. We gotta do this. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like B Mickey. I said he remind me of my boy Mike Key. Shout out Mike Key too, man. I see you call me yesterday. Had a lot of motherfuckers was hitting me up and shit after the surgery. I'm gonna hit you back though. Mike Key want to raffle off a jacket on his page too. I'm like, nigga, ain't nobody trying to buy no raggedy ass Montclair jacket or raffle off. Get that shit away. That's what we do on this channel. We have giveaways, nigga. But anyway, what else I was talking about? Okay, yeah. So being Mickey and Meech actually get on some gangster shit, and I'm like, oh, we finally about to see Meech put in some work. Cause listen, we ain't seen Meech put in that nan work this whole season. Am I right or wrong? Can I get a thumbs up just for that? We ain't seen Meech or Terry put in no work the whole season. Not one time. But anyway, they was about to. And guess who was about to shoot again? B Mickey. And shout out to B Mick, man. I just found out the real dude name. His character is based off is called B Mix or something, or D Nix. D Meeks or something like that. I was watching some videos on YouTube, man. Dude's still around and shit. But anyway, they wind up going in this dude's house and they see a bowl of cereal and they see somebody sitting in this, and Mickey was about to clap him. He put the joint to his head. Meech's like, nah, move the joint, and wind up hitting the wall, and it was some young boy. I'm like, ooh, they lucky. Meech gives him a stack of money, like, yo, you ain't seen us, you ain't hear nothing. The little boy like, he probably, yeah, I'm about to buy some school clothes. So yeah, that was crazy. That was a close call. I don't know if Monique did that to throw him off, or that's just information she had. But I think he did ask him about Lamar, and he was like, yo, he ain't been here in a while or some shit like that. So I'm like, yo, he got to be going to Cato House. That's what I was thinking. Like, he got to be going to Cato House, whatever. So they regroup, and Meech tells, I don't know if it was before this or after this, but Meech tells B Mick, like, yo, I know you fucking Cato. Mick's tried to deny it, but he like, yo, bro, I know you fucking Cato, bro. He's like, man, she different though. He's like, but you know the rules, bro. Rules is rules. Dead that shit. Like right now, you gotta dead that shit. He's like, all right. Niggas don't listen though. Niggas do not listen. We see Patrols is still on shit. We see the detective Bryant and his fucking knuckleheaded partner is just sitting out, and I guess they see some of the 50 Boy members, and his partner just darts out the car, and Bryant like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? Like, he just wind up taking off, chasing one of these boys, and he flying too. I'm like, oh, this old nigga in shape. I thought he was an old head. This nigga was in shape like a motherfucker. He was hopping these fences. And we see he chasing two people. I see it's the one dude. I didn't know who the other dude was. And come to find out, detective catches up to him because Meech, getting too much money. He ain't fast as he used to be. And he jumps on him. He turn around and get him on the ground. And he sees Meech. And the detective like, Meech? And Meech like, struggling with him and shit. And then I'm like, oh, man, what the hell about to happen? Meech caught up right now. And then we see out of nowhere, Kato come with a big-ass pole. Pow! Hit this nigga in the back of the head. Nigga shit started leaking, dude. And Kato just dropped the pole like, oh, shit. And I remind you, we don't got DNA evidence and forensic evidence back in the 80s. And it's raining out, so her DNA probably washed off the shit. But she paused and freeze like, Meech like, yo, we got to go and shit. We got to go. You know what I'm saying? I think Meech respected the fuck out of that because he could have gave her up later on in the show when the detective pressed him about it. He could have gave him her, like, but Meech a solid dude. You know what I'm saying? He like, nah, I don't know who did nothing. But anyway, that's later. Get to the hospital. The Brian pulls up on him and he panicking and he officer down. I still don't know why his dumb ass decided to hop out and run like that. I guess he was just trying to be a hero. I don't know. But fortunately, cost him his life. Yes, unfortunately. I ain't gonna say unfortunately, but yes, he Detective Bryant's partner, I don't know his name, passed away. And he got killed by Kato. So does Kato redeem herself for this? Or is she still in the And I don't know, she killed the cop too. That's wild. You know what I'm saying? Like she put some work in. So her and B Mix is like Bonnie and Clyde. Like they dropping, they doing all the work. And it's to save these niggas. So she winds up going to B Meek's house crying. They wind up having like fucking sex and shit. They decide to one of them, they talking and shit. He telling her pretty much, he consoling her, like, I got you and shit. And she, they wind up smashing. And then they wake up, they want to smoke. They ain't got no wraps or whatnot. So he like, yo, rock, paper, scissors, go to the store. She like, nigga. So he winds up going to the store. She's sleeping and shit. And when she comes back, or she wakes up, she think he's back. She's like, nigga, you better roll the shit. And it's Lamar crazy ass. I'm like, this nigga ain't even lock the door. Lamar comes in the joint. Now remember, when B-Mix left, the camera emphasized on the gun being on the stand. He never leaves anywhere without this gun. So it was weird to me that he, especially with seeing as though they got wreck out here, it was weird that he left the gun. I don't know if he left it for her protection, but he did. And anyway, Lamar winds up coming in there and he's just like, yo, I want you to kill Meech. I'm gonna kill a one-lying nigga. And he was about to kill B Mix, but she was just like, no, please don't. And he was like, oh, you care about this nigga. And he's like, oh, so how Meech and Terry, so you fucking Meech and Terry lieutenant? Even Lamar know, like, bitch, what the fuck is wrong with you? You don't do that. But he like, yo, you gonna kill Meech then? She like, yo, how I'm gonna do that? He like, all right, you better figure it out or I'm gonna do old boy. And I thought Lamar took the pistol. He set it back down though, left out. B Mix is in the car rapping, looks over and see Lamar coming out the fucking crib, and he looks for his pistol and he ain't got it on him. He like, fuck. And I didn't know what he was gonna do. I didn't know if he was gonna peel off. He winds up going right back in the house. He winds up going in the house, grabbing his pistol and putting that shit right to Kato head. Like, yo, why the fuck did I just see Lamar leaving my house and shit? And she like, the whole cover got blown. And before they went to the store, they said they both had to tell each other something. He was gonna break up with her, I believe. He think he just wanted to smash one last time. And then I think she was gonna tell him about Lamar. You know what I'm saying? At least that's what she said she was going to tell him. She's like, that's what I was going to tell you. And he's like, man, you a motherfucking lie, man. Why should I believe? And I'm like, B-Mick, just fucking do it, nigga. Like, just do it. He was like, yo, no, man, I'm telling Meech. I got to tell Meech this shit. And she like, no, you can't because yada, yada, yada. And long story short, man, B-Mick ain't even do it, man. Nigga pussy whip, dude. I'm like, you lost some cool points with me, B-Mick, bro. You was supposed to turn her TV off, like Hassan Campbell say, man. Supposed to turn her TV right the fuck off. But she too conniving. You can't trust no girl like that. He went up letting her live on. Lamar dashed off into the night. We don't know where he at now. He just out here with his do-rag on. In a bag full of guns. We see Detective Brian and Meech meet up. And he's pressing Meech about information about who did it, who killed his partner, and Meech standing strong. He was just like, man, I don't know nothing about nothing. Like, I don't know who did nothing. And he was like, oh, you remember you don't work for me no more, or some shit he said. But prior to that, we see Brian in the hospital. When they first got the news that he passed away, the Hispanic lady was telling him, like, I know you dirty. He saw you with Meech, so did you have something to do with this? So she think he got something to do with it. Dude, like, man, I ain't had shit to do with this. Like, I ain't know none of that. But she kind of spilled the beans. So now he think that Meech and them did it, which they did, but it really wasn't about that. It was just an unfortunate situation. But he like, yo, she's like, yo, come down to the station. He like, yo, I'll be down there. I got to handle some shit first. And she like, where you going to meet Meech? And that's where he was going too. So I wouldn't be surprised if she followed his dumbass. But Meech told him, like, yo, I don't know nothing. He's like, I ain't heard nothing. And dude know he lying. And he just like, oh, okay, I see how it is. And Meech's like, yo, I got shit on you too. He's like, man, you ain't got nothing on me. I'm like, oh, this shit about to be crazy. Part I left out, Terry goes to speak to Big L, the plug, at some art gallery. I guess she owns an art gallery. She's in the art. He goes to talk to her, and she's showing him around. They're having an interesting conversation, and it looked like something might be brewing between these two because they got a crazy connection. We see the one artwork she's getting done is a fully nude girl getting painted, and Terry's like, "Oh shit, what's this? Like some porn art?" She's like, "You can look at it like, it's just art." You know what I'm saying? So they have a conversation. She like, "Well, why are you here?" And he's like, we need an extension on our deadline." And she like, "Let me guess, it's your brother's fault." And he like, "No, it's not his fault." And she's like, "No, I'm not giving you an extension. They're gonna meet at the time." So, so that's when they decide that they're gonna have to be out there hustling with them, which obviously backfires and got them in more shit. So it looked like the BMF is over before it started. It looked like everything is going bad, man. I'm trying to see if it's anything else I left out on this episode. I thought this episode was decent. It wasn't. It kind of is weird because all of the last 4 or 5 episodes been fire. This one was kind of mid. It was decent. I ain't gonna say it was trash. It wasn't up to par, but I just believe it was a setup for probably what's gonna happen in episode 8. Lamar, Kato are still alive, and they just getting deeper and deeper and more shit. And these boys got to start being more ruthless out here, man. That's the only way I look at it. You got to be more ruthless, man. You got to. It's no way. Somebody said I seen a meme today, said Ghost and Tommy would have had Lamar killed today. Like if somebody's like, yo, if they don't kill Lamar this episode, man, they ain't nowhere near Ghost and Tommy because they would have had that shit done already. But this is a kind of sort of be a real life depiction, so it wouldn't happen. Motherfuckers be like Meat said earlier. He said, man, he old and he not dumb. He not fucking just gonna be. He not gonna go to no hospital. You know what I'm saying? Tiny was like, yo, I got my boys going to every hospital and vet in the hood, every vet in the hood, every hood vet, whatever. He like, man, he ain't stupid, and they ain't right. I mean, I ain't gonna say he not stupid, but he not that dumb. He just mentally unstable. But I was upset I didn't get any singing from Lamar this episode, man, because that you can't stop the rain. Yo, that shit was like, yo, he getting compared to fucking Max from Shadas and Bishop from Juice. Like he in that realm of crazy he getting compared to now. But I don't know. It sucked though because I'm gonna have to wait 2 weeks to watch the other one. Man, I should have just waited next week and seen it with everybody else, I guess. But if you got to catch it, man, shout out to you. This is a review for you. If not, you're just gonna have to wait till next week to watch this bad boy. But you know the drill, man. Post your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe. It's a new option. It's called the thanks button. If you don't want to hit the Cash App button, and thanks to everybody that sends me Cash App, $5, $2, whatever it is, it helps out greatly. Especially I just got this expensive ass ankle surgery. So, I'm not able to be mobile. I'm missing out on crazy money with my roadside business. Just missed a $200 call prior to even starting this video because I couldn't even sub it out to nobody because niggas don't want to be on their grind like me, man. I'm up here. You see what I'm up doing. I'm doing something to try to make some ends meet. But like I said, it's a thanks button down there if you want to donate to the channel. It's greatly appreciated, man. Like, subscribe, share this. That's the best thing you could do for me, man. That's more valuable than money, but I take the money too. But share this. Let's try to grow this channel together, man. 2,000 subs, I will be doing a giveaway. And like I said, if you can't wait, you want to grab a hoodie, man. Grinders and Grindettes. I got a bunch of cool stuff on the website. It's iamtrill.com. And always, next time, man. Let's do it. Tomorrow we'll do Insecure a review, and I'll do a Succession review. Peace.